No.
What's
Hey, we made it. I didn't finish my phone. There we go, never mind. Oh, maybe.
good after Shore Road?
How about up by Cole?
My sister teaches a online yoga class.
Oh,
And you could be in the midst of she lives in Newfoundland, rural Newfoundland. I've got a lot of family in England, they sign in. But you could be really, doing in your meditation zone and then somebody,
hey Joy, how you doing today?
I'm great. Can you see me yet?
No, your camera, not yet. Oh, there you go. There you go.
We're good.
Yes, we are. So I am recording this because typically we like to play the audio version. So we extract the audio so that way our members of our community can see, like, or listen rather, later on. But I could also send you a copy as well if you want to share it with anybody or anything of that nature.
Okay, sounds great.
People are logging on, so we give it a few moments though.
Am I going to be sharing my screen so I can run through this, or how we doing?
Yeah, I can give you permission. So what I'm gonna do actually, which is probably easier, is just make you the co-host so you have the same permissions as I do.
Fabulous.
Perfect. Yep. You're the co-host. Sitting with me right now, just to let you know, is oops. Yeah, so this is our rec therapist, Tennille, here at Mount Sinai. And this is Sophie. She just recently suffered her injury, but she's a traveler. So she's excited to be here today. And luckily, I had this webinar while you just got here. Yeah, I was planning it for you.
Just for you. This is just for you. Well,
Online. So yeah, so whenever I guess we could get started in about 2 or 3 minutes.
Yeah,
Of time.
Marie, here, get my mail, please.
I don't think she's talking to us, so
Huh?
maybe. Yeah. Okay, yeah, so and yeah, we try to do these webinars quarterly so that way our community can learn more about, just different things. So we do anything from sexual education to like adaptive sports to traveling the world, so about community integration. So
do you guys share this with your inpatient population?
yes. So Sophie right now is an inpatient. So
Oh,
this is
you are brand new.
Yeah, really, really new. Because this is an inpatient unit. So this is an inpatient unit. However, I work between the inpatient, the outpatient, and the research units. So it's a few different, but this is acute rehab. So this is the start of the journey.
Okay.
Want me to close the door?
I can leave it open if anybody gonna come. I don't know. They're not gonna make too much noise, hopefully. I'm sorry, I don't have any pop.
You got to be a better host, man.
I know. I got it
And
together.
we're gonna have some too. I think we have one actually.
Only one left. Well, next
One
time.
left.
Next time we'll have.
They
some
feed
more.
me way too much here anyway, so.
Well, we want to get your protein in.
Yeah.
I love that piano behind you. What a fun piano.
Then it's so colorful, right?
Yes, I'm like, I want to play that piano. That's amazing. So is Mount Sinai in New York? Like,
Yes, so we're in New York City. We're in the heart of New York City at that. We're on like 100. I don't know if you're familiar with New York, but we're on 101st. Well, we run from 98th Street to 102nd Street. And that's between Madison and 5th. So our facility is pretty big. We also one of the spinal cord injury and traumatic brain injury model system hospitals. So a lot of times we do a lot of research in regards to spinal cord injuries. Tennille does more brain injury stuff. I don't really work with the brain injury population, but yeah, we all about traumatic injuries and neuro injuries and getting people better.
I got to work at Craig Hospital and Shepherd Center, both other model care centers. And I'm a recreation therapist, Tennille.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Fellow rec therapist.
Yes. But yeah, model care centers, if you have a spinal cord injury, that's where you need to go.
Yeah, so, yeah, so we try to stay up on the standard, but I mostly promote like community integration. I like to see everybody get back outside, doing the things they like to do, like whether it's traveling, whether it's sports, media, whatever the case is. I feel like I want you to go back and live your best life,
You're a good model.
So yeah, we can get started now. I'll do an introduction, and when people come on, they'll join. I'll make sure and mute them and things of that nature. But today we have Joy Burns. She's here from Will the World. Go check out willtheworld.com. I'll post some links in the chat. But they do a lot of traveling and like as far as like showcasing adaptive places, adaptive facilities, adaptive hotels, things of that nature. I think they're the blueprint for that. So thank you for, coming on today and participating in our webinar. Yeah, I think it's very important because life after a spinal cord injury, we know doesn't stop at the spinal cord injury.
Yes.
It continues to go. Doesn't matter your injury level. Everyone could travel. Everyone could get out and see the world. And that's what I want everyone to do that I come in contact with to see the world because it's a beautiful place. So thank you, Joy, for hosting this, and yeah, we're ready to get started.
I'm so excited to be here with all of you. Wish I could be closer in person and have a face-to-face, but I have a lot of information I want to share with you and talk about travel. So I'm going to share my screen. Let's see if technology works for us all today. Let's see. Okay. You see
Yep.
my screen?
Yep, we can see and hear you.
Okie dokie. 1 second. There we go. Had to move it out of my way. Okay. We're good. Yes?
Yeah.
Perfect. So as I said, I'm just really happy to be with you guys today. I have never been to Mount Sinai, but I love New York City. So I next time I'll have to check it out because I've heard great things about the rehab center there. So today I'm going to do some introductions of who I am, so you know a little bit about me, and then talk about Wheel the World, and then get into just some practical travel tips and talk a little about why travel, like what's the purpose, why is it a big deal to get out there. So first, my name is Joy Burns. I'm a wife to a quadriplegic. This is my husband and I in Palm Springs, California. And my husband is a C6-7 quad. So if there's any C6-7 quads out there, you were like my husband. He has been injured for 42 years. So a really long time. And we've been married for 30 years. So the first two questions, were you his therapist? I was not his therapist. Second question is, did you meet him before or after he was hurt? I met him way after he was hurt. So there's the first two questions people always ask. I'm a recreation therapist by education, and I worked at Shepherd Center and also Craig Hospital. So they're similar to Mount Sinai. And my passion is definitely for people living life to the fullest after an injury. We have kids. We have two twins that are, they're actually 23, a boy and a girl that we had through in vitro. So that's a little bit about that, but I am at heart a wanderlust. I've been to all 7 continents and all 50 states, and having a marriage with someone that's in a wheelchair has not changed my passion or ability for travel. Little fun fact, I like to garden, so come to Atlanta where I live and you can come see my garden. And about 1.5 years ago, I started a podcast with Wheel the World, and it's called Travel Talk with Joy. So write that down, Travel Talk with Joy. And I interview people that have interesting stories of travel and have chosen to live a big life. So check that out. And who knows, maybe one day you'll be one of my guests. So they always say when you're starting a talk, you should always start with a funny story. And this is my funny story that combines disability and travel. So my husband and I were on a overnight flight to Paris. And something about him is my husband uses a suprapubic catheter, and he always brings an empty Gatorade bottle whenever we fly, because it's and this is tip number one right here. Bring an empty Gatorade bottle because it's easy to pee in an empty Gatorade bottle. Has a nice wide top. It's a good size. And so he always has a Gatorade bottle that's empty whenever we get on the flight. So is middle of the night, and he's like, oh, I need the Gatorade bottle. So I give him the Gatorade bottle, and he opens his catheter and, pees into the Gatorade bottle and does the top. He gives it to me. Well, I'm watching a movie because I don't sleep on airplanes. I just like watch 4 movies. I just love watching movies the whole way to Europe. So I'm watching movies the whole time, and I was in the middle of a movie, so I did not want to take it to the bathroom yet to empty it. So I'm watching a movie, and I get thirsty. And I forget that this is actually a bottle full of pee and not a Gatorade bottle. And I open it up, and I definitely did take a huge swig of my husband's pee on that flight. So I, spit it back in the bottle, take it to the bathroom, wash my mouth out. And so the moral of the story is use a Gatorade bottle, but empty it immediately so you don't have what happened to me. So now you know about me, and now I want to tell about how I found out about Wheel the World. So I had heard about someone named Corey Lee, and to all you taking notes, furiously taking notes, write down Curb Free with Corey Lee. This man is amazing. So he is right here. My husband is the bald guy. He's the guy next to the bald guy. Corey Lee has traveled to, I think he's up to 60 countries. He has been to every state. He is a full-time wheelchair user and has spinal muscular atrophy, which is similar to ALS, but you get it when you're young. And Corey is, to me, the premier travel blogger for people with disabilities. He just does amazing work. And also he's paid fully by people that say, hey, come tell us what you think Yellowstone National Park. Come tell us what you think of Japan. And so places like Japan pay him to come to Japan and see how accessible it is. So he had posted that he was going to go to Patagonia in Chile. And I was like, I want to meet that guy. So come on, Bert, let's go to Chile. So this is November 2022. I sign up. I thought, okay, I'll try one of these group trips they had. And I thought, is this going to be like an outing? What's it going to feel like? But I signed up for this group trip, and we get there to Patagonia, and this was the people that were on our group. So my husband's spinal cord injury, and then Corey has spinal muscular atrophy. The woman in the blonde hair, spinal cord injury, and then the person on the right, she had spinal muscular atrophy also. So kind of different disabilities. But this is what that trip looked like. So every day we would wake up, we'd see these beautiful vistas, we'd go shopping in these incredible streets. This middle picture is us in the middle of nowhere in Patagonia in a hot springs. And Bert's getting out of the hot springs with some assistance there. Accessible transportation and just so much fun. And I didn't plan one thing. And this was so incredible because this is what travel should be like. It shouldn't be full of stress. It should be like you show up and it's just what people do, you don't have to worry about things. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is incredible. And I want other people to have travel experiences like this. So I learned about the company, and this is how it started. There were a couple of friends that were friends in high school, and one of them is this guy in the orange wheelchair. They were going to grad school, and they said, let's go on a big trek to Patagonia. And the guy in the orange chair said, oh, it's going to be hard. And they're like, no, we're going. Come on, we're going to figure it out. So they found this is called, it's kind of like a Sherpa. It's called the Yolet wheelchair. That begins with a J, Yolet wheelchair. And it's a Sherpa style wheelchair because that's the only way you can really do these single track trails to the middle of nowhere in Patagonia. So he and his friends, they all get back to this amazing, beautiful location, and they took pictures and filmed some, and they were like, oh, it's incredible. They come down, upload the video to YouTube, and it goes viral. And these two friends say, man, this is why we're in business school. We should design a platform, travel platform for people with disabilities to help them travel better. And this is Alvaro, our co-founder. So Alvaro became a wheelchair user, spinal cord injury, 18 years old, huge traveler, and didn't want to stop. And now he leads our company in founding Wheel the World. Because here's the problem that you guys will see is that just there's not good detailed information. You know, you might want to go stay at the Hilton Hotel, you know, in downtown Atlanta, but you don't know how high that bed is. And for some of you out there, you're like, oh, I like a short bed because it's an easy transfer. But then other people that use a Hoyer lift, they say, no, I want a high bed because then there's space under the bed for my Hoyer lift. And nobody has that information. So they said, we're going to do it completely differently. We're going to have hotels. We're going to have things to do. We're going to have multi-day trips and we're going to have group tours and it's all going to be accessible. And we're going to go find out all the information because this happens all the time. You know, you get to this beautiful room and look how high that bed is. You know, I'm having to do like circus tricks to get my husband in bed. So what they have done is they said, we're doing it differently. They are verifying accessible hotel information so you don't have to wonder, is this going to work for me? So what we've done is you go in and you create an accessibility profile. And that's where you have your concerns like your bed height, your shower preference, your door width, all the important things to you. You tell us about yourself. And then what we do is we've gone out there, we've gone to over, not kidding, over 2,200 hotel rooms around the world with a tape measure, not lying. I was like, this can't be real. And they said, no, we go there with a tape measure, with mappers, we call them. And they're measuring everything around a hotel, like even including like, is there a pool with a lift? Does the lift work? Is the rooftop bar accessible? Like all those little details that you want to know when you go stay somewhere, we check it all out. And so I live in Atlanta. So here's a property in Atlanta that we had mapped. And you go here and look, it says like what the toilet height is, what the door width is, what the bed height is, all the things that are important you can find on our website. And people say, okay, well, is it more expensive? And it's not. It's the exact same price as if you book your room with us or you went to Expedia, but here you're going to get what you need. Unfortunately, before we had Wheel the World, and you know, Wheel the World doesn't go to all the world yet. There's times that my husband and I go to places and it's not accessible, and you have to think, how can I get in bed? How can I, you know, take a shower? All those kind of things. But this helps solve that problem so much. And so what happens then? So you say, I want to go to New York, and I have filled out my accessibility profile. And what we do is we take the hotels in New York and we match them with your profile. And then we say, oh, here's the best hotels for you. So it's not, you know, accessibility is not one size fits all. That's just the case. So we're able to tell you what the best hotel is for your situation, and you can make a choice. It's been life-changing for us. And the last thing is what you don't have to make the phone calls. Usually people are calling the hotel. Okay, I need the accessible hotel room. Then you call the week before. No, I really need the accessible hotel room. Do you have my name on it? And our travel planners do all that. And if you get there and it's not the room you said you were going to get, you get your money back. So this has been a game changer. But in addition to the hotels, we do vacation packages and group tours. And I want to talk a little bit about that, what that looks like. So this is kind of what that Chilean tour was that I told you about. So you choose your destination, they plan everything, you can confirm the booking, and everything is accessible. And, you know, so many times, like people are able-bodied, they go on a trip and it's just the way trips work. You sign up for a tour, you get on the tour bus is good for you, everything works. But it's just not the case. So now it can be the case. And, you know, I know that some people say, well, I'll just use a regular travel planner. But the problem is when they don't understand the problem, they can't give you the good solution. So we can do travel packages, vacation packages. And these are just some of the spots that I never thought, like, you know, some people go, oh, I can't go to Machu Picchu, or I can't go to Athens, Greece. And looking around the world to see, wow, there are other people around the world making their things accessible too. So, you guys have heard of the Parthenon, which is the huge ruins in Greece with, you know, all these amazing ruins that are literally 2,000 years old. And now they have an elevator that goes up the side of these 2,000-year-old ruins. And it's like, if they're able to make that accessible, I don't think anybody can say, oh, it's too old to be accessible, you know? That's to me one of the oldest things there is in, you know, ancient civilizations in Greece, and they're making that accessible. So people are making the world more accessible, and it just, how can you get there easier? You know, some people say, well, I don't want to go on big flights. You know, I don't want to risk it with flights. I don't want to do that. But these are other places in the US that we have accessible things to do. So it's not like you show up in Maui and you don't know what are accessible things you can do. We do all of that type of planning. Even in Alaska, this is really cool. We have a partner there that it's an accessible seaplane. So you get on the plane, transfer to a little seat that just slides you up the plane and puts you in the accessible seaplane. Like things that I never even knew existed that I'm finding out about through Wheel the World. Accessible transportation, accommodations, and things to do. Like that's what trips should be like. And you know, I talked about the Chilean trip that we went on. Well, now we have group trips to Greece, Italy, Mexico, Spain, and South Africa, which the great thing about that is if you're a little uncertain about maybe it's your first time back to travel, on these type of trips, we have staff that go too. So if you're worried about you know, getting your bags to your room, or you're worried about just the coordination of all the little details, we have the coordinators for the details, so you don't need to worry about it, which has been great. In addition to that, like if you're going on a cruise, a lot of people go on cruises and then they get to the cruise destination, they're like, well, all the excursions they had are inaccessible. We do excursions to lots of different places. Like you go to Nassau, we have excursions that you can take there, and day trips and accessible activities. So you don't have to have like the big trip, but you just want some activities to do. We can hook you up with that. And, you know, people say, can a trip change your life? Well, maybe it can, maybe it can't. I mean, for my trip to Chile, it's definitely changed my life because now I'm working with Wheel the World. But, you know, this is Corey, the guy I told you about. And this is what he has said. He's in Egypt here. And I think this is really true. He says, I love to travel because I love shattering perceptions and showing the world what's possible for wheelchair users. I also love that travel pushes me out of my comfort zone. And, you know, my husband has even agreed with this last part of this statement that, you know, when you're in your home environment, it is very easy to get comfortable with that and to be like, well, everything is accessible, it's easy, I don't have to push myself too much. But it's when, you know, he and I take a trip to an unknown place that it makes us go, okay, it's not going to all be accessible, but it's going to push him. And he, you know, he's been in a chair for 42 years and he still wants to be pushed to try things and not just to get too comfortable. That makes sense. I also want to share this is one of my friends. His name is Ryan Davis. So Ryan was an Army Ranger, and he had been on his 5th tour duty. And Ryan was in a firefight in Afghanistan, and he lost both of his legs and an arm. And he's a husband, father. He does public speaking now, but he's a triple amputee. And Ryan travels a lot. And this is what Ryan said. And I think probably there's some of you that can definitely feel this. Said, adventure in your heart cannot be blown away by trauma. It's important to keep that part of you alive. And, you know, it's adventurous John before injury is still adventurous John after injury. It's just, he's sitting down. And it's like that part of you doesn't go away. So, you know, I just want to encourage you guys, like if you were that adventurous person, don't squelch that. That is still in your heart, and let that still come out. You know, I think starting with baby steps and then working your way up to big things is probably the way that a lot of people do it when they first get injured. but it's still in you. And for some of you, you're like, oh, I wasn't ever adventurous before. I'm good now. But I'd challenge yourself to say, but maybe I want to start that and have that excitement in my life now. So here's my husband and I again. We were the superstars of this presentation. What has travel done for myself and our marriage? So this is kind of just a snapshot of what it's done for us. Like, it's normalized our relationship to where it's not like, oh, well, I would do that with another boyfriend, but I don't do that with my current partner because it's too hard. For us, it's taken us literally around the world. So, this is the Colosseum in Rome. And interesting thing about the Colosseum, there's an elevator in the Colosseum. Again, this idea of you can, have a building that is, I think this is, let's say, I don't know, very, very old. I don't know the exact date. But there's an elevator on it. And the idea that, they made this accessible for people like you, for people like my husband and I to go and experience this. This middle picture, this is a picture in Iceland. Iceland was one of those trips that I thought, no, I can't do Iceland with Bart. I'll have to do that one on my own. But no, Wheel the World had a trip to Iceland, and we went out on a boat into that glacier lake with these humongous glaciers just floating all around you. And it was definitely like a pinch me experience. I can't believe I'm here. And then this final picture right here, this was actually in Chile. That's a very, very smoggy Santiago. But, I never thought we'd go to Santiago, like Chile, never thought of Chile. And just having these experiences that enrich life so much gives interesting adventures for our children too. And to see our children see what we're doing and they're like, oh, we can do anything. Mom and dad do anything. I think it's a great lesson. And some of these we've definitely taken our family on too. So let's talk about practical travel tips. And I'll share this so you don't need to write all these down, but how do you best travel? Because it's not just we just jump on a plane and act as though, oh, everything is going to be fine. There's some definite travel tips that we use. So the first thing, it's your trip and you booked your ticket. We need to let the airlines know before you travel that you're going to be there and request the bulkhead. There's a couple of things in this. So not all airplanes can fit all wheelchairs. So on smaller planes, you can't fit a 400-pound quickie reclinable chair. You need to make sure that you're communicating with them what type of chair you have and what type of battery you have, all those type of things. So you need to know your chair well so you can communicate the size of your chair. And then also requesting the bulkhead, which works great, especially on Southwest, because right now with Southwest, someone that uses a wheelchair full time, they get on first. And so we use Southwest as much as we can because he just gets to get on first right there and he gets to get that front seat. Other airlines, they aren't always giving the bulkhead to someone in a chair because a lot of times they sell it with an upcharge. The next thing, put an air tag on your chair so you can always track it. You can tape it somewhere, you can pin it somewhere, get your air tag there because there have been some times when we end up in a city and we don't know where the wheelchair is. And so they will tag that. That's what we've started now is just putting a tag on that so we can track it.
Joy, you're on mute. You're on mute.
Okay.
There you go.
Take off all removable parts on your chair and just store them in a tote bag that you can bring on the plane easily. So this is side guards, removable side guards, take them off or you won't have removable side guards anymore. If you have armrests that come out easily, if you have a joystick that you can take off, some people have that feature. And then finally, don't forget to take your cushion off. Your skin is important. And we have had some issues where, my husband's been like, it's just a couple-hour flight. Well, then we ended up sitting on the tarmac for 2 hours. And then we had a 3-hour flight and he was 5 hours without his cushion. And his skin didn't look good after that. Then he missed like the first day or two of vacation because his butt was red. So your skin is important. Your therapists aren't lying, make sure you take that cushion. Next, bring some quick fix supplies. It sounds crazy, but I bring a couple zip ties, extra Velcro, duct tape, and like some bubble wrap. So my husband, for the first 35 years of his wheelchair life, he used a manual chair. And the past few years, he's been using a power chair. And we take bubble wrap and wrap it around the joystick so that has less chances of getting damaged. Okay, next, be an advocate for yourself. So the way that this comes into play, I'm just going to pretend like no one knows anything here, but when you get on an airplane, if you use a wheelchair full time, you'll be transferring to an aisle chair. They'll take the aisle chair on the airplane and then transfer from the aisle chair to your regular chair. The problem comes when my husband is 6'1", 220, big guy. People come to transfer him and they might be 5'4", 120 pounds. And he looks at them and he's like, oh no, this is not working. And very nicely says, I need to have two people that one is taller and that are strong to help me. And it's okay to say these things, you need to be responsible for your safety because that's dangerous. And he's had to go through two sets of people before when there's all these people waiting on the plane. And he's like, no, I'm not going to sacrifice or I'm not going to get myself in an unsafe situation for everyone else's convenience. So be an advocate for yourself. And then also know the Air Carrier Access Act. Look that up. That has a lot of little small rules that you need to know. So one rule is you have complete authority, rights to pre-board. You don't need to, some people might think, oh, I need to wait. No, you should pre-board and it's your rights. All the other people getting on and then you having to get on, a lot of times people are uncomfortable with that. Second thing that I think is really important is when you're getting off the plane, you don't have to get off the plane until your wheelchair is there at the front of the airplane. This has happened before where my husband would be like, yeah, I'm just sitting. I'm not going to get off the airplane and just sit, because what happens if, my wheelchair doesn't come up for another hour and I'm sitting on that little aisle chair again? Remember, think about your skin. So that's a right, definitely a right. And then also another one in there is if you're someone that travels with some extra equipment, might be a Hoyer, might be a shower chair broken down, you don't have to pay for that equipment. So that's not like a $50 extra baggage fee, anything like that. Anything medical, you don't have to pay for. There have been times when, I'll pack a small roller and it'll have all of his medical supplies in it and maybe a couple extra things in mine. But, that bag is free. And they've never asked me to open up that bag, just so you know. Okay, next, bring a Gatorade bottle on the plane in case of pee emergencies. You guys know what I'm talking about there. And women, if anyone is out there, female that casts, and you want to travel, I would really suggest looking into the Mitrofanoff procedure. It is a procedure where you basically cast through your belly button, so it makes traveling much easier. If you want any information about that and you don't know anybody that has one of my good friends has one that has traveled all over the world. And my email is joy@wheeltheworld.com. I can connect you with her because it's been a life changer for her as far as her confidence in travel. So I know for women, it's harder, to pee inconspicuously than it is for men. But just remember that the Mitrofanoff procedure is what that's called if you want to be a very avid traveler as a woman. Plan pre-flight meals. So bowel issues are just a thing with spinal cord injury. So we can just talk about that for a second. People wonder, how do you travel, without worrying about a bowel accident? And, from our experience with our travelers, plus our experience with just my husband and I, couple things. If you do a bowel program, do your bowel program the night before, but also your day before, don't eat much. And when you're on the plane, don't eat. And it's not fun, but that's the very small part of travel that you have to miss out on for a big adventure. But really be conscious about, how am I going to do this? How am I going to make sure that I don't have any accidents? And then our friend Corey Lee, the guy we were talking about, he uses a depends on the plane. And he's like, I just want to have that peace of mind just in case. I'll just wear a depends on the plane. Does he love it? No. But the dude's been all over the world. And he's like, I'm just going to do that so I feel more confident when I travel. Okay, number 7, pack a carry-on with medications and power chair chargers. So important. You know, your bags get left in Iowa and you're trying to travel to Texas and you can't get your bags for a day. Maybe you're traveling to New York. I mean, I'm sorry, to Paris, and you can't get them for 2 days. Have your medications, extra catheters with you, and also, very important, your power chair chargers. I left a power chair charger before. It was not good. Luckily, we were coming home, so we had another one at the house, but always remember to take your power chair chargers on the plane with you. Okay, number 8. This is something that we have just learned the past 6 months. So we went on a trip and we met this guy in Mexico that had a very different type of chair. I was like, what kind of chair is that? And he says, it's a travel chair. Well, my husband got out of his chair, that was the big power chair, and tried his travel power chair. And he's been using it now. We bought one, been using it for 6 months, and it folds up like a stroller. And he's been on 5 flights, and every flight he's been able to fold it up like the stroller, take the joystick off, take the battery out, and put it in the the closet on the airplane, not underneath, which that is a massive improvement, because sometimes when we put things underneath, things break. They do sometimes. But having that ability to just have it on the plane has been huge. So this is also part of your rights, is if your chair can fit on the airplane in that front closet, that's your right. And the flight attendants might pitch a fit and be like, oh, our bags are there. No, they can move their bags somewhere else. Your chair can go there. So for those of you in manual chairs, pop the wheels off. Often it fits. But for those of you that are interested in this, it's the one that my husband has is called the Jazzy Light. And it is only weighs, I think it's 36 pounds. It's very light. Again, my husband's a big guy and it works. Folds up, goes in that closet. Incredible how that has really helped. So consider that. There's many on the market. Okay, now get to the hotel room. It's a lot on airplanes, but the airplanes are a big concern for people. So, number 9, if the bed is too high when you go into that room, maybe you didn't book it through Wheel the World, or we aren't in Australia, so we don't have rooms in Australia that we've mapped yet. The bed is too high. What do? Best thing, remove the box springs or the frame. Either one will help get that bed down another 6 inches. So many times, you know, we're coming into a bed at 30 inches. And for someone in a manual chair, you really want your bed at like 25 inches. So this removes it about that much. So good. Remember that one. And, you know, we've had people push back just once. And my husband is a little bit of a opinionated person. And he called housekeeping. Like first he was calling the front desk says we can't do it. He called housekeeping, said, can you send someone from engineering here? They sent someone from engineering, and immediately they're like, oh, no problem, we'll do it. So sometimes get a little creative, but in years and years of doing this, we've never had a problem on that. And finally, number 10, use an accessible travel company that understands your needs. You know, there are some others that are similar to Wheel the World that might plan vacation packages. But I'm not sure if there's any others that actually are measuring those rooms themselves. I just think that's the game changer. So, you know, go into it eyes wide open and make sure you know who you're talking to. But that's definitely one of the biggest tips there. I'm a little bit frozen. One second. Okay, so before we talk questions, I want to share this video with you. I saw this video before I started working with Wheel the World, and I was like, that makes me want to travel. And I want to see if you guys feel the same. And let me know if you can hear the music.
If you want, we can talk about what led us to use wheels instead of legs. That way, we can tell you the sad version and version 2.0, which is even sadder. Or if you'd rather, we could do it like the movies, and we'll embellish everything with a tearful story of effort and determination. But there's something we have to tell you. We're not superheroes. We didn't feel like them when we climbed to over 2,430 meters above sea level, or in the most beautiful and incredible places in the world. Unlike superheroes, we thought the same thing anyone would. We felt grateful to be there because it made us understand several things. But before we start to tell you, could you please change the music? Because there in Machu Picchu, we realized that despite everything, this is not a cheap imitation of life. This is not a copy or a simulation. This is not a lake that longs with all its heart to be the sea. This, my friends, is life. Life at its fullest. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. Don't let anyone make you feel otherwise. Believe us, we are saying this for every tear shed, for every person hugged. In flickering neon lights with fireworks lighting up the sky, life. Pack your bags, recover the ability to wonder, open your heart and let it explore. But even then, you won't be prepared for this because we are not inviting you to travel. We are inviting you to live.
I love that video. It to me is so inspiring to make me want to travel and just live bigger, you know?
If you want,
Oh,
we can talk about what led us to.
give me a second time. So, who has questions? I've talked a lot. I hate that we can't be back and forth, but who has questions about anything of travel, of my life, of my husband, of Wheel the World, anything?
I guess you could stop sharing and then it could be easier, like,
Instead of legs,
right, jump in.
we can tell you the sad version and version 2.0, which is even sadder. Or if you'd rather,
One
we can do it
second.
like the movies, and we'll embellish everything with a tearful story of effort and determination.
Okay. You still there? Are we still there?
Yeah, sorry. I think you just gotta hit stop share at the bottom, if you're on a laptop or computer.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Should be like a
It should be like a button that says share something and you just hit
I
stop.
see share screen, but I don't see stop share.
I think if you click on that on the share screen, there might be an option inside of the share screen. Or on the side, that arrow next to the share button, typically if you click that arrow that points up, I think you can stop sharing it.
One person can share at a time, advanced sharing options.
Okay, I have a question. My name is
I got
Tina,
it, I think. Oops.
and
Yep,
um, hello,
Hi, Tina.
hi. I just wanted to know the chair that your husband has, the one that folds up, because I just went online and checked. So are they all like close to $3,000, $4,000?
There's some that are also like $2,000.
Yeah.
What I really look at is durability, like, because my husband's a big guy. So the one that he has is carbon
Uh-huh.
fiber. So, you know, I
Right.
think that that's really important to look at your size. Um,
Uh-huh.
But so one thing that I do for my job is I run our Facebook group. It's called the Accessible Travel Community. So everyone write that down. It's Wheel the World Accessible Travel Community. I'm the moderator there. and we have 35,000 people like yourself that are interested in traveling and are always posting questions. And we have had so many people post the question about the travel chair. And the Accessible Travel Community is the name of that group, Accessible Travel Community. But we've had so many people post this question about travel chairs, is that on one of the guides, I actually have, you know, lots of posts where you can look through people's responses to what type of travel chair they use. And you can put in, you know, make a post yourself to say, you know, I'm this size of person, or, you know, whatever, and get feedback. I posted the question yesterday, and the question was, what is the number one thing hotels could do to make your experience better as a wheelchair user? We had 330 comments on that one post. So, you know, people are posting things all the time. It's a very interactive community. So join there and ask the question, you know, say, this is my budget. What do you recommend?
I ask a question?
Mhm.
Yes, Brian, go
All
ahead.
right.
Thank
I
you.
always been warned that if you have a good wheelchair, do not bring it on the airplane with you because it will take some kind of beating if they have to put it in the hull of the plane. That it's going to get jacked up.
Yeah.
So
For the first 20 and 29 years of our marriage, we travel a lot and have taken, I don't even know how many flights. And the number of times the chair has been broken has been 4 times. And that's with hundreds, like literally hundreds of flights. So yes, that there is something that the airlines are going to have to figure out how to do this better, how to, you know, the dream would be to be able to stay in your wheelchair, but I just don't know if that's ever going to happen because there'd be so many planes that have to be retrofitted. So I think what you do is Brian, do you use a power chair?
no, I have one, but it's like 400 pounds. It's one of those chairs with I don't even have a van to move it.
Yeah. So, you know, I think you best protect your chair. So if you're in a manual chair, again, you take off all the parts. If you can fold it up, those kind of things. I also, you know, sometimes people even put like a laminated sheet on it that says, hi, my name is Joy Burns. These are my legs. Please be very careful. Here's my phone number. You know, if they need to learn how to take it out of gear and things like that. My friend Corey, he's had people call him while he's on the plane twice saying, hey, I don't know how to get this chair out of gear, even though it's the directions on the laminated sheet. But yeah, I think being as careful as you can, but again, it's hundreds of flights. And yes, my husband's chair has gotten damaged a few times, but that's not the regular.
Well, what do you do once it gets damaged and you're
Yeah.
trying to exit the airport or something?
Yeah.
And your chair
Well,
is in two pieces?
one time they left his chair in another city. And so, and I wasn't with him. So he had to get in the airport chair, the old person chair, which that makes him a crazy person. And they had to push him out to his car. He transferred in his car. Then he took drove his car back home. And then he had a second, like an old backup chair that he used until his chair was delivered the next day. So that happened. Another time we travel, and it was like to Barcelona, shows up, the power chair is damaged. This is when he took not the travel chair, like a real power chair. And they did the same thing, but they got and I know this sounds crazy, but they got his chair to a repair shop. The repair shop was amazing and had the thing fixed the next day. So it didn't impact us as much. So there are workarounds. I mean, I'm sure there's stories that are terrible that, you know, are way worse than that, but I
Go
think
ahead, I have a story way worse than that, actually.
go
Well, I
ahead,
travel a
Garrison.
lot for you know, my sport. Brian known for like sports and stuff like powerlifting, and I traveled to Tbilisi, Georgia one time, and they left my chair in Doha. And so I had to go 24 hours without a chair, but the airport in Tbilisi would not let me take their chair outside of the airport. So I was only able to transfer into the bus or whatever that was, escorting us to the hotel. But then I had to get a chair from a player from Kazakhstan, an athlete from Kazakhstan, luckily had 2 chairs. But yeah, like sometimes, you gotta be wary, especially if there's a language barrier. So if there's a language barrier, like Joy said, maybe you might want to put a note on your chair or something like that. And I'm a manual chair user. So but yeah, that has occurred. I had instances where my chair broke when it arrived, like maybe the front caster came off. I don't know how. But like there was a workaround similar to Joy's situation where the people of that country was able to take it to a repair shop, fix it, and make it good enough so I could get home. I don't think they used the right bolts or anything, but yeah, I was able to get home. But yeah, there's workarounds, Brian. But yeah, a letter is usually really good.
Elizabeth?
Yep, Elizabeth had her hand for a while too.
Yes, I do have a question. My question is, if you request a hotel that you would like your bed lower, is it mandatory or?
No. It's interesting, Elizabeth. The ADA, there is no laws with the ADA around bed height. And it's like, what? That's the number one thing. Can we get in and out of bed? But the issue is the bed height for one person is what, my husband wants 25-inch bed. My friend Corey wants a 30-inch bed. So
What a 35-inch usually.
yeah,
like,
or
I like
35-inch
high
bed.
beds. Yeah.
Like it's so different depending on the person that there's no law about that. So all you can do as the traveler is do the research. And I know some people that before Wheel the World, of course, they literally would tell people, like, call the front desk at the Marriott downtown and say, I need you to go measure the wheelchair accessible room that I have booked, and I need you to take a picture of that measurement. Like really being, and some people might say, oh, that's too much. But that woman knew that when she arrived, the bed was going to be 25 inches because she was traveling alone. So, yeah, it's on the responsibility of the wheelchair user to know that.
Okay,
After Elizabeth.
and also you said though that if you want your chair in the front compartment on the airplane, that, yes, if it fits, you can have that.
Yes,
Because
absolutely.
they told me no. I've asked for it on when I travel. I don't travel on my power chair. I'm scared of what might happen. But I always travel on my manual, and but yeah, they told me no.
Well, what I want you to do is look at the Air Carrier Act,
Okay.
and have that with you. And if, not all chairs can fold up, but I mean, my husband's chair, the travel chair, just to kind of get you an idea of how big it is. It is I just measured it. It's 25 inches by 31 inches long. Okay. That folds up and fits in there. Now, and also his manual chair, like he had a tie light, wheels pop off. That can also go in that front.
Yeah,
compartment.
yeah.
All depends on, again, which plane it is. But do not take no for an answer unless you see the closet and see that it's too small. But print that off and have that with you, because that is 100% in that act.
I will do that, especially I'm going to travel soon again, and yes. Thank you.
Jessica?
Oh, Geraldine, she has her hand up.
Hello.
And then Jessica, she had it up for a while.
Okay.
Yeah. What about travel insurance? Do you need any special kind of travel insurance?
That's a good question. With our travelers that do our big trips, probably 90% of the travelers get travelers insurance. And we offer that. You can do it on your own too, but we do offer that. My husband and I have never had travelers insurance. So it kind of depends on, you know, are you, uh, how do you feel about it? You know, because some people say, oh, I want traveler's insurance in case I spend maybe $3,000 on this trip, but then I get sick. I have a, you know, get admitted for a UTI and I can't go on the trip or things like that. So those type of traveler's insurance. But what I'll say about the traveler's insurance, make sure you know the fine details, because there's some traveler's insurance that it says it's for only problems on the trip instead of before the trip. So make sure you know what you're getting when you buy it.
Okay.
All right, Jessica, it's on you now.
Hello, my name's Jessica. We just got back from Cancun with my husband and my 2 kids, and I really didn't do a lot there. You do family trips. How much more expensive would that be than like just a trip where I just sit around?
Well, the main thing, so my husband and I have done Cancun also, and the thing about it is the accessible transportation piece. So if you need accessible transportation for your activities, that's definitely a piece that is more expensive. You know, you can't get in the taxi, so that's more expensive. And then it's a private tour instead of, you know, usually they come up to the resort, they load 50 people on the bus, and they all go to see Chichen Itza, the ruins, you know, outside of Cancun. But the tours that we offer, it's accessible transportation, and it's just your family of 4 going. So it is a lot more expensive because it's, you know, it's only your family. And so unfortunately, accessible travel is more expensive. And I wish it wasn't, but because of those reasons of transportation and private tours, it's more expensive. Yeah. And, you know, the travel in Mexico is, I think, some of the less expensive travel, but we have really good tours also. Like, you know, I mean, you may say, oh, I want something more that's city because I don't like the beach because I get too hot on the beach. I overheat, things like that.
Mhm.
There's some excellent tours in the Mexico area that are more cultural tours also, which I love.
Yeah, we wound up renting a car because,
Oh.
relying on like the van, and they did have accessible vans, but there was only 2 out of like, so we just rented a car just to make everything easier. But like we went to Xcaret,
Yeah.
and I wound up just kind of like there was a lot to see, but when they went down into the underground waterways, I kind of sat.
Yes, you couldn't go in the cenotes because it was, yeah, yeah. Um, I think that like
Yeah.
private tours in the cenotes where there's like more people that are hands-on with you, if that's something that you want to do. Unfortunately, I think that's the way to have to do that instead of just excurate like general admission. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so I get, it definitely pay because I'd want to, participate more. We're thinking about, oh geez, just one of those, I can't think, it was on the screen.
Like,
Or we're thinking, um, it's by the Panama Canal, Costa Rica, Costa
oh,
Rica. We're
yes.
thinking about that.
That's a really good accessible trip. It's crazy the amount Costa Rica has done for accessibility efforts. We do trips for people all the time to Costa Rica, and I mean accessible surfing and
Zip line, make sure you zip line while you're out there, Jessica.
I,
yes,
But that's what I
yeah,
did when I went
okay,
to Costa Rica. I zip line. It was fun.
okay.
that's a good place to go.
Yeah.
So I would go, I guess, go on your website and,
Yeah.
see the pricing for it.
Yeah, I suggest everyone go on the website and just play around, start dreaming, you know. We our accessible cruises, you know, another thing people say, what about cruises? Cruises are
Yes, that's
great.
what I was just gonna ask.
Okay, cruises are great if you go with cruise line that understands your needs. And so we book those, you could book through other people, but we book the cruises through certain cruise lines, and we know the accessibility in the rooms is up to standard. And you know, you'll see in the Facebook group I told you about, you'll see people there saying, "Oh, I really had a terrible cruise experience," but it's because they didn't go with a cruise ship that really excels in accessibility.
Amazing.
Now I'm gonna mute Tina. I don't think she's told. Got it. All right. Well, any more questions? Anybody has a question?
I have a question.
You have a question? All right, Sophie.
Joy, what about Amtrak travel within America?
Amtrak is really good, actually.
It is?
I can speak on that. Amtrak, I had great experiences. Like the economy section of Amtrak is really accommodating. The seats are really large. They usually typically put you in the front. You got the option of whether you want to get out your chair or if you want to stay in it. If you want to get out your chair, there's a spot where you can park it right in front of you where you still have complete access to. The cool thing with Amtrak, because you know they sometimes offer services, being that it's not really accessible for you to keep getting up and down and going to, I guess, the service center to get what you want. They will actually send someone to grab whatever you need and things of that nature. So I had great experiences with Amtrak.
Okay, so back to Joy. When you're doing international travel, I've never ever gone with a travel agent because they put me in hotels that are really nice. Sometimes I want a really basic hotel or a cabin, right? And so I never use travel agents because I want to do it myself and find, you know, my budget, it will be cheaper. Do you have different kind of? Yeah, you
Different levels of hotels. Yeah, not everything is the St. Regis. There's, you know, definitely like more economical type hotels for sure that we offer in, you know, you want to go to Greece or Paris or wherever. Yes, all levels. Yeah, I think that you said cabin, and one thing I'll touch on too is people are like, well, what about VRBO? Is that a good thing? Can I do that? VRBO is very, very hard. They have someone that's supposed to be specializing in accessibility, but I try to use it all the time. And when you use their accessibility filters, you still see the places that are supposed to be accessible aren't accessible. And I get so frustrated because I'm spending so much time, you know, doing follow-ups. Okay, is it really accessible? Is it really accessible? No, there's 2 stairs to go to the bathroom or whatever. Like VRBO is very hard. So unfortunately, yeah, unless you just spend a lot of time going back and forth with, and occasionally I do, going back and forth with the owners.
Thank you.
Where are you from, Sophie?
England originally.
All right, so Chris and Elizabeth, then we gotta wrap it up. But I shared Joy's email in the chat, so you could anyone, if a question arises, you can definitely reach out to her by email. But I'll take Chris and then Elizabeth.
So first of all, Joy, I just want to say thank you very much. I mean, I travel a ton and I still got a lot of really great info out of this presentation and I've been traveling for almost 20 years with a disability and you still taught me a bunch. So I really appreciate this. I just wanted to sort of get what Garrison was saying about Amtrak. I love traveling on Amtrak and there's another great trick about that, which is if you are taking a long enough trip on Amtrak and you book early enough, they have an accessible sleeper car on Amtrak, and the accessible sleeper car has its own bathroom. And it's an accessible bathroom and it has a shower in it. You don't have to share that with anybody else. And like Garrison was saying about them helping you and providing services, the conductors will actually come to your room in that accessible sleeper car. And if you want food or something from the cafe car, they'll go and get it for you and bring it back to the room. So Amtrak does a phenomenal job at accessible travel. So
Thank you.
We love Amtrak, trust me.
Yeah.
And Liz, yep, it's on you.
I have 2 more questions and they're true. I love Amtrak too. But I did want to say, number one, when it comes, if you want to take a tub bench, is that at an additional cost or not? Because they've told me that that is not, that what they considered medical equipment is like wheelchairs or armpits and stuff like that. But they said not like the tub bench. No, that was, I would have to check that in and pay extra for it.
No, you don't have to pay extra for that.
No.
You need to talk to somebody else because again, get that piece of paper because that's
Got
considered
it.
medical equipment. Shower chair, Hoyer, hub bench, that's all medical equipment.
And the other one is I just booked my first cruise trip in September, and she told me, and she strongly advised that I should purchase insurance, like if something happens to me, or is that true? What's your opinion of that?
Well, we've
I've
made
been traveling.
purchases, so
Well, I've been traveling
Harrison?
for 20 years with a disability, and I've never purchased any insurance. Any. So you don't need to. I don't think you need to.
She also said if I purchased the insurance, just in case, the only good thing about that was if I wanted to cancel the trip, that I would get my money back. But you know, I mean, it's only $200 per person, but
And then there's parameters when you purchase insurance. Sometimes you have to have like certain type of information. I had a friend of mine who also has a spinal cord injury, and when he was going somewhere, he purchased insurance, and then when he ended up not going, he didn't have a legitimate reason that was on the list because they're gonna give you like a whatever, and it has to be like one of the issues that is listed on that contract, and it's like ridiculous. So like, I would be a little careful with the purchasing of the insurance, if that's just me. And another thing also for anybody out there, in the event that you miss your flight or want to change your flight, the airlines are typically very accommodating towards us with those issues. So say if you have a layover, that's maybe like 3 hours and there's a flight going to your destination a little sooner, maybe within an hour or whatever the case may be, they will put you on the top of their standby list as well. Because I've done that numerous times when I had like long layovers from a European country or whatever. So just be mindful.
all right, good to know. Thank you.
I can see it. I can in my mind's eye. It seems
All right, well, I would like to thank you, Joy, for hosting this wonderful webinar. I will send you the link to, to the information, to the audio and things of that nature, so you can share it with your channels. But yeah, I think everybody really got a lot of knowledge out of this webinar, and we would love to invite you to more activities that we have on travel and things of that nature.
Absolutely. Thank you guys so much.
Yes.
Remember, you can always email
Thank you,
me.
Joy.